Taylor's this is Brady, and today I'm here with Ben Verlander, the host of the Flippin' Bats podcast with Fox Sports. Welcome, Ben. Glad you could join me today.
Of course, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
First of all, congrats on your podcast being named one of the top 10 baseball podcasts last year.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been, this is the start of the third season of having it, Flippin' Bats with Ben Verlander, and it's been a whirlwind. The goal is to grow the game of baseball and to be a younger, exciting voice talking about the game. And for it to be where it is after 2 full seasons is something that I'm very proud of.
Okay, so first, I got to ask you, how did it feel to hit a home run against your brother, Justin Verlander, in your only at-bat against him?
Great. I will hold that against him for my entire life. I had never, in the backyard, we've played wiffle ball with each other, but never wearing uniforms. I'm in the box against him on the mound. He's trying his hardest. I'm trying my hardest. And one at bat, one pitch, home run, and I never need to go face him again.
So what made you want to start Flippin' Bats?
Yeah, so I started with Fox Sports a few years ago, and we knew that we wanted to start a baseball podcast, and it was kind of this process of how do we do it? What do we want it to be about? How do we go about it? And we came up with a name for it, and then it all just is based around the idea of, for a while, baseball and the media surrounding it just kind of got to a point where it was just stale and not a lot of excitement. And it was just reporting the news, reporting what's happening, and going on your business. But the game has become so exciting, and so many young, exciting players showing off their energy and their personalities. And I think that's important in the media side of things as well. It's important for people covering the game to talk about the game that way. So that's kind of the process and how we all came to the basis of the show. And it's been a good run so far.
Okay, what has been your favorite moment from your podcast and why?
I would have to say having some of the players on. I mean, I've had Hall of Famers on. I've had some of my current favorite players on. But, I was thinking about this the other day. There's been so many player interviews that I've had that all stick out for one reason or another, a funny moment. But one that I'll give you is more of a personal moment for me. I grew up a huge Atlanta Braves fan, being from Richmond, Virginia. They had the AAA team there. And so I just became a huge fan. And my favorite player was Chipper Jones, and my favorite pitcher was John Smoltz. And now I have John Smoltz on my show every week. And I had Chipper Jones on last year for an episode. So I think just growing up, idolizing these players, and now having them coming on my show has been awesome.
So when you were a player in the minors, who did you most model your game after?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think to a degree, I knew that I needed to be myself. When I first got drafted and coming out of college after my All-American year, I kind of had a unique swing. So I tried to stay true to myself, but you're always looking at things that players that swing like you do similar, right? So you try and model those guys and those swings. So one for me that I always tried to model my swing after his was Miguel Cabrera, a guy that I've been around a lot in my life and a guy that's obviously one of the best of all time. So I would say him. And then just, other than swing wise, just trying to play the game hard and play the game the right way is something that was always important to me. So just watching guys around the league and wanting to go about my business the same way they did was important to me.
How is it being able to see Justin win the Cy Young Award last season?
Yeah, last year was special. After what he went through, 2019, winning the award, and then getting hurt at whatever it was at the time, 38 years old. You don't really know what the future holds, but for him to put in the work he did in the offseason and during the COVID year, and to come back and to have that full spring training to get back to the way he did, and just to do what he did last year was something that I'll never forget. It was the perfect season. He was the best pitcher in baseball. He won the Cy Young Award. He won a World Series. the second consecutive season with him pitching that he won a Cy Young Award. So it was a special year for our entire family for sure.
So what position did you enjoy playing the most and why?
So in college, I was a pitcher and mostly a right fielder, but I came in as also a third baseman. And then I played a little bit of first base. Professionally, it was mostly right field and a little first base as well. I liked right field. I just felt like that was my home. It became, at a certain point, it becomes like a big challenge when you get to that level. Just knowing what balls are going to do off of guys' bats and knowing the spin and knowing what foot to drop step with and all of that stuff. Right field kind of felt like home. And when I went to play first base, though I really enjoyed it, it felt like I was playing a different position that wasn't my own. So I liked first base, but right field felt like home to me.
So what are your opinions on the rule changes this season? Do you think that they are going to help or hurt the game?
I've loved them so far. I think they're definitely going to help the game. From players I've talked to fans of the game, there will obviously be people that don't like change, but I think change is important and everything needs to evolve over time and evolve with the times. And baseball is finally starting to do that. And I think these rules will bring new viewers, the younger generation that, is very like, give me a certain amount of action and a certain amount of time. That's important in this day and age. And I think baseball knew it needed to evolve. And it is now to a point where there is more action in a little bit less of an amount of time, which I think is great. Ultimately going to be huge for the sport. And John Smoltz told me a couple of weeks ago that he thinks this will be the single greatest thing to ever happen to baseball, which is pretty powerful.
See, the only thing I'm worried about with the rule changes is like in the postseason, a huge game ends on like a pitch clock violation, and then the entire series, the momentum just changes because of one little mistake.
I do think I don't think the rules are perfect as they are. I do think we're going to need to tweak them and to do some things to make sure something like that doesn't happen. But I don't know if it will. Players adapt. Players are already adapting. You see it. There are less and less and less violations every week. So players will get caught for violations during the regular season, and they're not going to do it again because it sucks to get a strikeout under your name when you didn't really strike out, So I think that changes. I would like to see maybe in the playoffs the pitch clock bumped up a little bit. I don't think they do that, but I would like to see it. It's now 15 seconds and 20 seconds with somebody on base. I would like to see that go to, in the playoffs, maybe 20 seconds and 30 seconds.
Well, thanks, Ben, for coming on the show, and I wish you continued success for your podcast.
Of course. I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Guys, please make sure to check out Ben's podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube by searching up Flippin' Bats. I'm Brady, and you've been watching Sports Report.